I stand here to testify of what God is doing. And I stand here to testify of what God is doing outside of United States, from the United States. And it's very interesting. Only God can do this, and only God can think of things like that. And myself and our organization, Global Heart Ministries, are the people who are simple instruments in His hands. Nothing more, nothing less. We come, we go, His testament, and Jesus stands forever. And so we just happen to be chosen for this ministry, and I cannot be more grateful than that. So this is a presentation. I wanted to just catch you up. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Narmin Backus. I was born and raised in Azerbaijan. On the map, you can find that tiny country. And it used to be part of the former USSR. I grew up in the Soviet Union when it was still Soviet. And then the Union fell apart, thank God, in my opinion. And then it went back to the religion of its ancestors. In my case, it was Islam. So we went back to Islam, where things were somewhat explained in terms of creation, but not fully given. Freedom was not fully given. Let me put it this way, in my opinion. And we love Muslim people. My family predominantly is still Muslim. It's an amazing country. It's a beautiful country. It's my homeland, but also is America now my homeland. I have been here over 20 years. So I've lived half of my life here, and I call this home. I became Christian in this country. I became Christian because of my wonderful husband's testimony and his family, but I also became Christian because of the testimony of the church. It wasn't this church, but it was this church and this pastor that baptized me and taught me and discipled me. So those of you who don't know anything about me, I just wanted to give you this information to testify yet again and again to the obedience of the pastor, love of the church, love of the people of the church. And there are many, many Muslims in this country, and they keep coming, and God bless them. We welcome them, but we want to testify and to share with them about Christ and His love as it was shared with me, and now I stand before you. Just as a funny fact, and how wonderful and great sense of humor our God has, I stood one day in the church telling that I will never be a Christian. Just watch me. And then Lord smiled and said, well, you watch me. And now I am here. So I am very grateful for that. To Him the glory. So this girl, Elmira, let me just talk about her. She is, of course, it's not her, because we cannot really show her picture, but she came to us through the social media. So I work as a social media evangelist. I had no idea something like that existed until I was offered this position and was invited to this ministry. But social media evangelists are people who work online with teams. I have a team in Azerbaijan and we have a team in Uzbekistan. We work on social media. The name speaks for itself. And what we do, I'll show you a little bit later, but in a nutshell right now, just for you to understand, we jump on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok. I can't believe I spent half a day on TikTok, believe it or not. And it's not easy because we create content, whether me reading directly from the Bible, whether me producing a video on Christian theme, whether me talking about Christ, me and the team. It's not me, it's not about me. I want you to understand. It's the team in Azerbaijan. I just lead them from America, and I work as a liaison between America, an American entity, and with teaching them how to do that in Azerbaijan safely, professionally, and of course, with the truth of the gospel. So this girl, this lady, came to us through a paid ad. Most of you are probably on Facebook, I would assume. As users, you have people that you communicate with on Facebook. When you go on Facebook or Instagram and you see something pop at you, a promotion for the movie, for makeup in my case, and other things, you see things that says sponsored. Sponsored means that someone put ad and put money behind that ad. It could be a bad ad, a terrible ad, leading you away, but it could be a Christian ad, promoting a Christian concert, a Christian movie, or something of that nature. So we do that. We put Christian ads advertising different things. But one of the things we advertise is when people are searching for truth. Sometimes they're suicidal. Sometimes they just want to be able to obtain Bible, which is not as easy sometimes to obtain in their language. They find us online either through Google or directly on Facebook pages. And they click certain buttons. We have created a system. We're partnered with a company who has helped us to do that. They click certain buttons just as you would if you want to buy a movie ticket off of that ad. And it leads them to our website. And when they click a couple of more buttons, they fill out the form that anonymously answers certain question. If they are in peril, if they are being blackmailed, if they are suicidal, and we have had many people like that, they will tell us without giving us their name and their number, or giving us the number, but it's safely secured. We then can call them back or text them back and tell them about Jesus, give them hope, and provide shelter, direct them to shelter, and provide answers to their questions. And then we communicate. It's not one time. The societies there are not as individualistic and independent as Americans. It's collective. So they want that you need to build trust. You need them to understand that you're not an American entity. You're local people who love them, who know the truth, and speak the indigenous language. She came in. Story is gruesome. She has 2 children, and her husband, I'm going to try to make it very short. Her husband divorced her. I will not speak of why. Reasons are many. And in that society, it's almost always women's fault. And she went to her uncle by marriage, who raped her and recorded that information, and unfortunately blackmailed her. And from that point forward, with 2 little children, with blackmail, what do you do? I know that in the United States, it would be difficult too, but you do have shelters in place, you do have counselors, you do have churches like that, and you can come and run for help. It's much, much harder to do that in those societies. She reached out to us. I'm so glad she did. We connected her with a local church. We led her to Christ. We connected her to the church. It was over a period of time, but she was so desperate. She was ready. And now, not only the police got hold of that person and got it all under control, where she was about to kill herself, she now is a Christian, attending church, growing in the church, and has no problem with her family. She is freed, and there is no shame upon her. The societies like that are built on shame and honor. You either have honor, you either have shame. And she was about to kill herself because of shame, impending, but no longer. And this is just one of the stories and examples that we can share of what online evangelists do. This is a quick map I wanted to show you, and this is a lot of numbers, and I don't want to spend time on that, but it's metrics that are important for you to see what's going on in certain countries, where we are and where our technology is. It's not just ads. You have to be able to get online. You have to be able to train people and have a call center, where we have a call center. You have to be able to do it legally without any problem, and yet not into the face of, I would say, government or the people. You have to be smart. You have to be respectful of the laws of the land, but you also have to understand why Jesus sent you there. And Jesus sent us there because we can't all go physically and live there. He sent us there through this amazing technology. So technology, like anything, can be used for bad, or it can be used for the glory of God. And we are trying to use it for the glory of God. So the blue dots, green dots are the stories. Yellow dots are the baptismals, because we want to baptize them. We want to baptize them into the family of the believers, and that way they're sealed and the testimony is sealed. But we also want them to know how to be discipled. So all the blue dots are disciples and discipleship. And I think this was not possible a few years ago. This was not possible in my wildest dreams. It was not possible because we didn't have money to do that. I mean, it takes money to do this. And it was not possible because I couldn't understand technology. And God has shown us what's going on, how to do that, not to be afraid, go into the country, but it doesn't mean you have to physically go to the country, although we do have short missions as well, when we train and when we encourage the body of Christ and our team. So this picture, even though it's a lot of dots and doesn't make sense to the unknown, makes my heart leap with joy. It just makes me happy. This is just a quick example of how we see it. When the person comes, I personally know the girl that is portrayed there, and we do not show her face. This is an amazing story, but there are many stories like that. They come in and we capture. This is called journey of faith. We capture them after we initiate the conversation, after we eventually, not right away, eventually meet with them face to face, when they feel safe and when we feel safe, that it's the true seeker and true believer. We then get together, we meet with them, and we physically give them the Bible, which we give free, which is an important thing, and I'll come back to that in a second. Nothing is free in many places, and when you offer things free, people immediately wonder, what do you want back? We don't want anything back. We want you to know the truth, and we want you to be saved. So this is, you can read the story, obviously, when you are in the system. We understand if she or he is baptized. Does she have her personal testimony? Yes, she does. Have we had in-person connection? Yes, we have. So it's quantitative, and we have to have metrics. People are not numbers, but if we don't capture this information, we won't know the extent of what we're working and how successful the gospel is in a particular region. Because if we do have problems, we need to know them and understand and go at it and fix it. In each region, there are different problems. And so this is something that I wanted you to know. This is her quick testimony. I will not read it, but I'll tell you. Her brother was suicidal. His name was Saeed. He came to us through the system, just like Elmira did. And when he came to know the Lord Jesus, because his story was absolutely gruesome, he was literally on the way to kill himself when his phone rang. And the reason his phone rang is because prior to that time, he let his information, he left it with us. So in the moment, one of our workers called him, caught him in the act of wanting to kill himself, and told him, hey man, we're calling you back, you left this and this number, let's talk. And he just allowed him to talk because he was so desperate. We led him away from suicide, and we led him into the office eventually, or meeting with him, gave him the Bible, eventually discipled, brought him to church where he confessed his sin and became Christian. And then his sister saw what happened, knowing his life. He was a terrible man. He was fighty, can I say, from the hood, a man from the hood. You can decide how you want to transcribe that, but that's what he was. Fist was his language. And then when she saw how he broke before Jesus, I know we have hoods everywhere in the world. Don't you think it's only here? We have them all different ways over there as well, and the problems are almost the same. But the sister saw that and said, I want to follow you. His mother, his aunt, his cousins all followed him, and I saw them and met all of the family personally, Ken and I, this summer when we went with our mission trip. This is a phenomenal family. Let me tell you about the use of technology. It's a very interesting thing. We now have, we had a church who donated fantastic equipment. And what we do now is we bring people to the studio and we film them in the studio. And then whatever they're doing, whether they're reading the Bible or whether they're sharing the testimony, just like you see here on YouTube, you must have seen a lot Christian testimonies put up in America. We do the same thing. Some of them allow us to show their faces and their names. Some remain incognito. But I will tell you this, we then produce it and put it out forward, and that way we can create what's called content. It's called social media content, and that's what I do at home to contribute to that as well. This quick video, I'm going to start showing it. It doesn't have any sound, so I can talk over it. This quick video is a testament of what's going on in my country, which is Azerbaijan. And I love it because this is a video capturing Christian leaders together with the guy in the blue is a Christian pastor of a Protestant church of Vineyard, that is actually located in Houston. And we have a lot of different churches, obviously, in Azerbaijan, as we have here. And he's the man who went to put the flowers at memorial, thank you, of the fallen soldiers. Because we had a war with Armenia, a Karabakh region, for the Karabakh region and for our land, for the liberating of our land. And the war, of course, you lose people, you lose young people in war. And so the important part was that it was televised and approved because the president of Azerbaijan has issued an edict, I would say, is it the correct word in English? I don't know, or the rule. His heart's desire is for 10% of Azerbaijan to become Christian. Right now we have, I think, less than 2% of Azerbaijan as Christian. His heart is changing, his heart is opening. We have been praying for him and his family, but I also think, and I'm quite confident, he sees what church is doing and what Christians are doing. They're bringing hope. They are not there for the power fight. They feed the families. They do wonderful things. And when asked why, in the name of Jesus Christ. Not in my name, not in the name of this king or that president or this person, in the name of Jesus Christ. And for about 30 years since the union broke down, missionaries have been coming. Overtly, covertly, all kinds of ways. Now it's much more open. And I rejoice in that. Because honestly, we did not know it would happen in our lifetime, and now it is happening, and he's permitting to some extent for us to go to work, to take Bibles. Now before I play the video, I want to tell you a little bit about free Bibles. When I tell here to people, we offer free prayer and free Bibles, Americans look at me like I have lost my marbles. Because in America, you can go to any Christian or even call someone and say, well, I just pray for you. Or you can come to a pastor in any church, whatever church you prefer to go, and he will just pray for you, sometimes laying on hands and things like that. In a Muslim religion, that's not the case. And in some Orthodox Christian denominations, that's not the case. It's very rigid. It's very organized and differently organized. So for a Muslim to come to a mosque and request a prayer or request a holy book, you need to pay something. It's almost like I give you this and you pray for me. So prayer oftentimes is seen by them as, I guess at best, I have to pay for it, what's the point? And least, is it even effectual prayer? And that's what they used to. And some of them are okay with that, but true seekers are not okay with that. People who want to know, not Christ yet, but people who want to know God, want to know the truth. That's always been the case in any country, in any culture. And the God can be called anything else, but the true seekers will find, because God said, Jesus said, you will seek and you will find the truth, and they will. So what we do, when they call us, when they find us online, we tell them, we even put ads, free Bibles available, call this number. Free prayer is available, call this number. I know for us it sounds, like I said, weird, but over there we have people calling us for free Bibles. Sometimes they ask, hold on a second, free? I'm just calling to check if you're not a phony, if you're real. And when they find out that we are, and we actually send them the Bible or meet with them to give it to them, the guard falls down and they become a listener. Seeker that listens and then willing to come to church to check it out, like I did one time when I first married Ken. That's already half battle won, because you have their heart in the house of the Lord, in the community of the Lord, and then all you have to do is to do your work, as you know, to testify, to preach, and pray like never before for God to open their hearts. And it's a process. You have to be patient, but it's a wonderful process, difficult but wonderful process. So true free prayer, and we tell them, we don't want nothing from you. We simply want to pray. And when you pray, things happen. And in that land, a lot of miracles happened. Not to say don't happen here, but it happens slightly differently over there because the access is different. They have visions, they have dreams, they have resurrections from the dead. I did not see it, but I trust some reports. They have illnesses that cannot be cured. And sometimes, even if it's an illness that is cured through the doctor, that's okay. We love and respect doctors, and we need them. Even if it's something simple as it would happen here, the fact that people surround them, maybe even pay their bills, people prayed for them, took the time to come to the village way up in the mountain, that fact alone breaks the heart for trust and for love. Because yes, we need miracles, and we know Jesus still does them. But the biggest miracle, you guys, is love. The biggest miracle is to show the love, is to show the time, spend the time, and to talk to a person in front of you, and to make that person important at that time and at that moment, and to try to tell them about Jesus, who has never left you or forsook you. And they see that. And that alone breaks all barriers, let alone makes them cry and break the heart for what breaks his heart for. And I just wanted to testify about that because I've been in this ministry and in this world and a Christian for 17, 18 years, maybe a little bit longer. It never stops to amaze me, all the stories. I hear them every day. I'm never jaded because it just grabs your heart to the point of breaking you down, and then you cry with them, and then you laugh with them. God is amazing, God, and I know you know that, but I just wanted to say again and again what he does in that country. I was asked to do the live painting because they wanted to auction a painting, but not just any painting, the painting that some call prophetic art and some people call it a Holy Spirit inspired art. It's art that the Lord asks you or directs you or convicts you, inspires you to do for a particular purpose and mainly for his glory. In this particular case, I did pray before I went, and he gave me an idea which I kept secret until the day of the painting. And so as I stood there and painted, the whole program went on. I think I had about an hour and a half, which is very good because the painting was large and I needed to make sure I finish it. But the story goes, this lady won it in auction. It's a great friend of our organization. We love her, but in particular case, her daughter is suffering from a very difficult, heavy form of cancer, and she bought it for her in order to uplift her spirits. And so next week, I'm gonna call in as she will be delivering the painting to her daughter. But that's a little bit of a different story. I was just glad that it happened. Let me tell you about the painting itself and what it represents. So I guess from the picture you can surmise something, but I asked the Lord to speak to my heart, not just to create a painting that will look beautiful and something I will enjoy paint. I wanted a painting that will speak to the audience that was there. And I asked the Lord to give me a visual and the ability to put it together. So the visual is, of course, stepping out of your boat and walking towards Jesus. Jesus further on, you're not going to be able to see him because I wanted people to understand the full message. And the message, of course, you can see the boat on the left. Thank God for my husband who is able to help me with boats because he is an old seaman. And so he always, he's my director of boats. And so, of course, the boat is empty, or rather you sit in that boat. Each one of you sit in the boat. And then when you see the storm, we all have storms. Each one of us have a storm in our lives. Some are continual at this point, and some storms have passed, and some, unfortunately, are about to come. But we do have storm, and if we choose to get out of the boat, and if we choose to go towards Jesus every single time, initially when you saved, but every single time, then imagine what would happen to your lives, and imagine what would happen to the life of people around you. So I ask the audience, I pose the question to them, what do you want to do? The choice is absolutely yours. Are you stepping out of your boat, or are you sitting comfy, cozy in a boat and letting the life and the devil himself just break you down with the storm? If you choose that, that is your choice. We're not here to break your will. But I tell you, as a woman who stepped out of that boat once and continues and puts effort to do that, Jesus will never betray you. Jesus will never forsake you. Jesus will never turn his back to you. And every single time when you fall into the waters like Peter did, he will do exactly what he did with Peter. He will lift you up. So the choice remains yours. Your storm may be worse than this, maybe calmer than this, but the storm exists. But the one above the storms is Jesus Christ, the Lord of all lords, the Lord of all life. And so with that painting, as I stood on a stage explaining it briefly to them, which is based, of course, on Matthew and the story of Peter and Jesus Christ, that painting then went on to auction, and she wanted an auction, and then there were other paintings that I brought with me that I sold and gave money to, some of it to the ministry. And so I'm an artist, I'm a visual person. This is part of what I do for the ministry as well as online ministry. And of course, everyone has their own different giftings from God, and we bring it all together, just like we do in church here. And with that, I will tell you this. The plan is to go this summer again, to encourage, to edify church, to be with them, but to be also with my family, because I want to continue to be that Jesus, hands and feet of Jesus to them. But right now, we continue to do this work. So next week, I will be going again to Dallas for a conference that I can report later on. And the interesting thing about the conference, and I will just conclude with that, we are planning to record videos of Apostles' Creed, and I've done that. And we, thousands and thousands, what are called influencers on social media, are planning to post it and bombard the internet with that, break internet, as the slogan is, let's break internet for Jesus. So we plan to put it online on Good Friday, so that the whole world, all around the world, will see what Christians stand for, and Jesus is the only answer. So my prayer today, as you remember me and go out, and please pray that this will work, not just for my sake, but for the sake of the whole world, and that will work for from the social media. Social media is a friend if you choose to be so. So thank you so very much for just listening and praying and giving and supporting this mission. This mission is not mine, it's God's, but I'm just standing here as his servant. That's all I can say. I'll just thank him in prayer if you don't mind. Father God, I thank you so much for choosing me for this work, but also for choosing each and every one of us. None of us here are by accident here. I thank you, Father, for who you are. I thank you, Father, for your mercy and grace, for your salvation. But you don't stop there. I thank you, Father, for giving us various talents, various abilities, and sending us forward even when we can't and even when we are afraid. My prayer today is to thank you for the assignment to share your gospel, but also I pray for all my friends here, watching, sitting here in the audience. Help them to make the right choice. Step out of the boat, follow Jesus, never to look back at the storm. Always look back at Jesus and what lays ahead. I pray for that strength. It takes courage and boldness and faith and conviction. And I pray for these things for all of us here. Thank you, Jesus, for your blood, for the resurrection, for the victory, and for what you are about to do from this day forward into the future. We ask all this in full faith and expectation. In Christ's name, amen. Amen. Thank you very much.